Hey there, this is Eric from George's Music and welcome to George's Music U Club. And this online lesson is going to actually cover scale notes with your chord playing. So I'm sure a lot of you out there know your basic chords. We're going to review three real popular ones, but then also I'm going to show you a way that you can actually add scale notes to these chords and actually make your rhythm sound a little bit brighter, more rhythmic, maybe even a little bit more of a challenge for you, but certainly more musical. So let's take a look at these three popular chords. The first chord that I'm going to show you is C major. And what I have here is my third finger at the third fret on the A string, and my G, C, and my E strings are ringing open. So that's C major. My next popular chord that I want to show you is F major. And what I have here is my second finger at the second fret on the G. My C rings open. My E has my first finger at the first fret, and my A string rings open. And the next chord, which is the third and final chord of our example, is going to be G7, and looks something like this. My G rings open, my second finger is at the second fret on the C, first finger, first fret E, third finger, second fret high A. Sounds something like this, and it leads very well to home, which is C. So these three chords, C, F major, and G7, all have a family, and that family is C major. And what's really unique about these chords is not only do they all relate to one another and sound good, you could actually just put them in any type of progression, they all lead well back to C. But what's really important is that there are certain notes that we can actually add to our rhythm playing that will actually create a more rhythmic variation to your playing. So let's take a look at these scale notes. Scales are generally built on either half step or whole steps, but what these notes do are correlate or correspond to the chords in our progression. And in our case, since we're using C, F, and G7, they all relate to C major. I'm going to show you three notes in the C major scale. First note is the C note right here on the third fret on the A string. It's actually included in the chord, but that is a C note. I have a B note at the second fret on my A string. And then I also have my A string open, or my A note, right there. So if I can, or if I want to, what I can do is I can play a C chord. I could follow it with a B note, which is in the scale, and then I could follow it with an A note as well. So I might have something like this. Or what I could do is I could accompany each note with a chord. So I have C. I have another chord which is technically considered C major 7. You don't have to worry about that. It's just that note that we're adding. And then I have an A note, which is technically C major 6. Let's not get too confused. I can just add that open string and then back to C. Okay? So if our progression was going from C to an F to a G7, we can actually add these notes with each chord. So check this out. Here's my C chord. Here's my B note. Here's my A note. Here's my F chord with my C on top, and if you can see, I'm using my fourth finger to get that. My third finger to get my B. My A rings open. And with my G7 here, I'm going to play technically a G7 sus. But I'm still adding this B note then, and then an A. There's my A note, back to C. All right? So our progression is going to be C, F, and G7, and what we're going to do is we're going to add this little motif of these three individual notes. Now to make this work, what we're going to do is we're going to introduce each measure with kind of what we call a chuck or a mute. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my hand and I'm going to use my fingers here to mute the strings, and I'm going to play measure 1 as a 1-an, and it's going to be a chuck, like that. So it'll be like 1-an. And then my 2-an will be right here, my 3-an, and my 4-an. So I have something like this. And then what I'll do is I'll move to my F chord. I'll start with the scratch or mute. And then I'll go to my G7. And then I'll go back to my C. So all together, we're going to have something like this. And that's how simple it is. So we're actually adding single individual scale notes to chords in our chord progression. And in this case, our chord family was C major, so we used the notes, some of the notes of C major. They're all over the place. Maybe as you get used to adding these single notes, maybe you'll add some other ones, like for instance, a couple other notes here. Really takes your rhythm to the next level. If you want to, you're more than welcome to print out the accompanying PDF to this lesson and follow along. And to take your playing to the next level, contact the George's Music Store either by phone, web, or email and ask for private lessons. Sign up, let our instructors get your playing up another notch with ukulele playing. I'll see you then.